Okay, hi everybody. So it's been a while since I did the first video on the Intel Galileo. I've been quite busy with the with another project. For those of you that's been following me on Twitter, you'll see that I had a bit of a bug that I had to resolve. I've also been on holiday. I spent a couple of days on the beach. It was quite nice. But anyway, back to this now. And I decided to do a quick video on updating the firmware on the Intel Galileo board. So the first time I'm looking at it now. Let's go through the steps quickly. So blah blah blah. Microsoft announced the IoT program. We've signed up for that. I've received my board. So Intel has released the latest UEFI BIOS for it, and now it's installed. So interestingly, I'm going to how to install it ends up in a 404. So Microsoft's never been good with links, but it could also be that it's just been a while since I've received this email. I should have really actioned it earlier. So let's try this option. Right, so here we have a step-by-step procedure. It says connect the power, and then it says download the Galileo ID. I'm not quite sure why we have to set up the power first. I do have a Gen 1 board. There's a warning, guys. If you have a Gen 2 board, you're running it, or if you have both. Gen 2 uses a 12-volt supply. If you stick that into your Gen 1 board, you will make the magic smoke escape. That makes all electronic things work, and it'll stop working. So it says connect. You have to connect it to the USB port, to your client port. So it says client port, and the arrows here are pointing to this port. Oh, right, okay. It looks like it's pointing at this port, but this is your client port, not this guy. I'm assuming that the Gen 2 board, which I don't have, has two LEDs over there, and that's what they're pointing at. Okay, but either way, I'm going to go and download some firmware first. So we head off to the Intel site. I have yes, so I've got the Windows package, 104 meg. Let's go and download that. Save as. Okay, Arduino. So something that's interesting for me is that I already have Arduino installed, the default Arduino. I have Arduino 1.05 release 2 installed, but this version of the Arduino IDE I think is specific to the Galileo board. So I hope the two of them can coexist on the same machine, otherwise it might make things a little less comfortable for me. Anyway, I'll be back when this is done downloading. Okay, 15 seconds left on the download. Let's see what we get now. I did notice here that it says unzip to the C drive, and it gives you a warning there if you have another version of Arduino installed. You can actually install this one under a separate folder. Which is quite handy. So that answers the question on what are we going to do with it once conflicting with my other versions of Arduino. So it's downloaded now. Let's open the folder, and I will drag it and extract there. Right. And that folder name is fine for now. We'll update it in a moment. Extract. It does suggest in this email, on this message, that you do that because of long file paths being an issue. I have other versions of the Arduino software installed in program files actually without any problem. So I don't know if this version has some specific items that might be in more in longer file paths. it looks like this is going to take another couple of minutes to do. So let's see. Okay, so we ran into a bit of a problem with the extract of that, and it did actually report that the file path is too long. So what I've now done is I've opened the zip file, just gone straight into, explored straight into the zip file. I'm going to create in C a folder path, or just a folder, and let's call it Microsoft Intel Galileo, just to keep that folder as small as possible. And I'm going to extract the content of Arduino-1.5.3-Intel 1.0.3, extract all the content of that directly into this folder. And I'm going to say copy it there. I'm going to try that again. Okay. So while that's copying, I did notice something interesting. On the download file, it says Arduino software 153. However, if you mouse over, the address in the bottom of the screen there is 1.0.3.7Z. Yet when you extract it, alright, so that's where the difference comes in. It's the Arduino software and the Intel add-on, I guess, at version 1.0.3. Okay, let's wait for that to finish and we'll carry on. Okay, 20 seconds left, and we don't seem to have run into the long folder issue again, so it looks like that marginally more successful. Okay, there we go. We pop in there, we can see it all seems to be there. Okay, heading back over to the application. Moving on, we can launch the application by clicking right. So let's do that. Arduino run. Okay, there's Arduino. So Arduino for Intel 1.03. Right, let's see what the next step is. Okay, so yeah, we could right click on the icon, pin it to start menu or to your taskbar, whichever is easier for you. So the next point is to Windows install drivers. So one thing I did notice, if you scroll down a little bit, it specifies down here, if you have a micro SD card inserted, you'll need to power off the Galileo to remove it. So I haven't started it up, so that's actually quite a bit of a bonus, and I will remove it now before I power it up, and then we can move on to the next step. Okay, SD card out. So what do we need to do now? We need to, right, so in the first step we were supposed to power it on. I'll power it on quickly. Right, then power lights on, and that's roughly all it's doing. I still have the LED installed from the first demo. We have some additional lights coming on, so I think that's up and running. And what we also need to do is to connect the micro USB to the client port. So there's client port, there's a host port. I'm putting it into the client port. Right. And Windows is saying device, installing device drivers for my hardware. We'll go through the next steps in a moment. Okay, so it's searching Windows updates for drivers, gadget serial 2.4. As it says, it's going to find there. Okay, so it came back and said no drivers found. That's kind of to be expected. They go through a bit of a convoluted way of getting to Device Manager. Quick and easy way is open Explorer by pressing Windows E, right click on my computer, properties, right, and click Device Manager over there. I find that a little easier. Right, here's Device Manager, and as stated there, I need to then go and say update driver software, browse my computer, and we want to go to see, find the new folder we just created. So here it says under hardware Arduino x86 tools folder, hardware Arduino x86 tools folder, and then click OK. Let's just go back there, tools, okay, and next. Right, and you like to install this device now? Yes, install. Right, so Windows is finished installing. Yes, and as promised under Galileo, we can see COM14. It does state that we should note COM14, remember that, we'll use it later. Right, it wins of a scroll bar. Okay, so the driver is successfully installed and we have a similar screen. So here we get to updating the firmware. So warning, do not remove power during a firmware upgrade. We're actually writing to the permanent storage or the EEPROM on the device, and if it powers down or something happens in the middle of that, it is very likely that you brick your device. So let's be careful, everything's nicely plugged in and stable. And if we have an SD card installed, remove it. We've done that. So let's find the Arduino software again. And we'll say tools, board, and we want the Intel Galileo. I have Gen1 board, so I'll select that. I'll go back and select the serial port. It's COM14, as we saw earlier. Right, I'll select my COM port, and what we want to do now is help. Let's just see that process. And we say help and Galileo firmware update. Right, a little mistake there. It says firmware update. In the tool it says Galileo firmware update. I'm guessing it's just a later version of the Arduino software. Let's click that. Intel Galileo firmware update requires using the external power. So yes, fine, we are doing that. Target version firmware is version 1 now. Do you wish to update with new version 1.03? Yes. So as a warning again, do not disconnect USB or power. This could take up to 5 minutes. Okay, I would have expected. Oh, there we go. Some lights flashing. It looks like it's just rebooted the board actually. All the lights turned off. Power light came back on. USB's on. GP LED is on. And we wait, I guess. GP light seems to have turned off. USB's turned off. USB's back on. Did that reset? Might have missed that. And we see LEDs blinking. Fantastic. So it says in a few moments, and we're done. So what I'll do now is I'll actually unpower or remove power, reinsert the SD card. I'm going to power it on and add the network cable. Okay. And what we should, the SD card is flashing. I'm assuming that, well, from memory, I think that means that Windows is booting up. So if you open our Galileo Watcher application that got installed when we initially installed it, is that going to find our board? It does take a while for Windows to boot up. And there we are. Okay. Let's open up the Intel Galileo Watcher application. Right now you can see it's found my Galileo. We'll telnet into the device. Default administrator username and your password, which I hope you have updated. Okay, and then we're into the device. CD /dir CD test. Okay, and there's our two test apps we wrote last time. So if we want to run that one, okay, so our R2C controller, R2C controller has not initiated, and that's potentially because we've updated the firmware on the device, but I've not installed a new version of Windows on the SD card. So there's probably some misconfiguration there. But it seems to be fully operational. Everything looks good. Let's see what's in program files. Nothing much. Okay. There we go. Oh, what we do need to do now is go shut down right now, and let's go turn it off. System will shut down in 0 seconds. it's off. Okay, and that's it for tonight. Thanks guys. If you like this video, as usual, subscribe, tell your friends, watch more, etc. Cheers, bye.